guys, Robert here with the Piston Slab channel, and I'm going to do a moto vlog from the road, but it's, I don't know, maybe we'll take this picture and we'll stick it over here so you can kind of see the scenery. But today's moto vlog is about a historic ranger station that I found. It's been there forever. It's just that we're always just, you know, so infatuated with just riding the highway or riding the dirt road, never really looking around in the area to see what's there to really see. So this historic ranger station is really amazing. It looks like from the 1920s, 1930s era, and I don't have much information, so I'm gonna have to dub in some audio, and we'll go from there and we'll cycle through the pictures, and then at the end of it, well, thanks for watching. So enjoy. Alright guys, so a little bit of voiceover real quick. So this is the Lochsa Historic Ranger Station. I actually had the little pamphlet that they give you when you actually walk in the door, and there's a little donation thing there. And a little guy that's handing out, or a little woman. It's ran by volunteers actually, so could be either or. Anyway, this is like an old historic ranger station that was actually active from 1925 to the 1950s. If I remember right, I'm kind of going off memory here because I read the manual or the little brochure they gave me, brought it home with me, and it's been so long since I actually shot this video that I've lost my marbles and my manual. Anyway, as you can see, I took a lot of pictures for you guys to kind of read through, so you might want to stop and pause and read some of this. If not, just kind of roll through it with me, and I'll try to touch on some of the things that I'm seeing as you're seeing them. So yeah, like this one, what got my attention was that old sewing machine. Times back then were really simple. No power, no cell phones, no tablets. Kids that behaved. The old record player in the back of the room there, and of course the old fireplace. That's pretty cool. So if you're wondering where is this Lochsa Historical Ranger Station, for those of you that aren't in the area, it's off of Highway 12. 99 miles of winding roads. One of the I don't know, top 10 motorcycle riding areas in the United States. So an old phone, an old phone, you know, and you can see the switcher at the top there. This was a picture of a bedroom, and then you got the chimney stack that kind of ran up through the upstairs. It was kind of weird, but maybe that's normal for that time. I'm not from this area, so. Really comfy bed right there, man. Looks like you could get a good night's sleep on that thing. But there again, it just goes to show how simple things were. They didn't have roads and cars when this area was put together, so a lot of the stuff was brought in by mules. It's really a high-tech bridge that they got here going across the creek. I'll bring you to a side shot to show this one. They didn't want us walking across it, or you kind of walk around by yourself, so they didn't want me walking across it. But great for a video. And you can see right there in the back, it just kind of spans over this little creek that is running. It actually had water in it too this time of year. It was late in the year, if I remember right. So it's pretty, really pretty. That's a garden. They actually grew all their vegetables and everything, and harvested whatever and made food, obviously. So that just goes to show that, you know, it wasn't like a trip to McDonald's and you were done. This was one of the ranger station, if I remember, or a bunkhouse that was restored. There's a little bit more on it in the next two slides, but we'll go inside and I'll show you some of the pictures from inside. He liked to hunt, looks like, and then there was some of his his medals, and then a little thing of hit there, and some of his dishes and stuff. It was kind of neat to see. You don't see stuff like that anymore. So you can see his bed, or his cot, I guess you would call it, on the side there. Really simple, basic, it just does the job. And then here's a picture of back when they were doing the resto on the thing. And that actually was restored, if I remember right. It'll say down here, I think 1972, 79. 1979. So, I mean, that thing just looks fantastic from 1979. Here's another cabin that's on the grounds. And what's really cool about this whole little area is I've ridden by this thing probably 3-4 times for the last couple of years, and you don't even see it. There's just a little sign on the side of the road. So if you're ever kind of riding by, you actually will see this little area. The road's to the left of the barn and the storage house there. So if you're out there and you see that, watch for that turnoff. It's definitely worth just taking a walk around. Plus, if you got kids and stuff, get them out of the car and let them run a bit. So some of the pictures of them packing stuff in and out. And I wasn't quite sure. If I remember, I said 1930s. I don't remember them having colored pictures in 1930s. Some of the things they had going on in this building were they were showing the different types of fire lookouts, and then the progression from way back in the day to the modern day fire lookout. And that's another part of this was they were actually like for the Forest Service lookouts and stuff like that. So they had horses and stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that I have no idea what it is. I just could guess. But we'll go through some of the tool rooms and storage areas. They talk about a major fire that came through, so I'll shut up and let you read that. There was no evidence of the fire when I was walking around, obviously, because it's so far along. Just around the corner from the area was this root cellar, so that would be like where they would store their foods and stuff if they wanted to keep them cold. And then this was the kitchen, what's really weird about this kitchen was it reminded me of my grandma's kitchen. Some of the stuff in here, I remember seeing my grandma use, and couldn't tell you what most of it is for, other than I know some of it you put meats in and grind it, and you know, like the mashed potato thing over there to the right, there's a meat slicer. And then let's see if we get on to the next page. The cabinetry on this, you can tell, is pretty basic and works too. Look at the size of those, like the mashers and the wisp. Just massive. Things were huge back then. I mean, like today you go to the store and you buy this like frail looking thing that'd probably snap off if you tried to use it. That's the thing I was talking about on the right there. I think it's called a colander. I'm not sure, but my grandma had one of those, and there was a big wooden thing that went inside it, and you had to kind of roll it around, and you'd put like your fruits and stuff in there, and it would make like a juice or like applesauce. And then the stove to cook all your delicious meals. All the pots and pans is just hanging up there on the wall. It's amazing. Some of the stuff I like to get a hold of is like those old cast iron pans. That way my wife can't ruin them. There's a table set here in another room. I think this was a building next to the kitchen with a really pretty just look out the window at some of the other cabins, and then the Lochsa River, or I think it was a Clearwater River actually at that point. This, I'm assuming, was more of like the area where they would report the fires. There's some equipment in there that I had no idea. One of the things I know what it is, and it's pretty cool. And then that telephone or switchboard, I have no idea, but I mean, I would assume that as the different lookouts would call, the different bells would ring. There were all sorts of switches up there above it. And then I guess he'd take his notes down there on the thing. So that thing right there is an adding machine, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, that's a modern day calculator. That thing, I'm not sure. I think it's an altimeter, I think. I can't remember exactly what it was. And then little spare parts and stuff to fix different things around there. Very organized, unlike some places I've been. Usually stuff's just thrown everywhere. And the people that do this area, man, they really take good care of it. You know, everything's got a label there, and there's like these things you can push that'll actually read out, but most of the ones when I got there, they were dead, so you just kind of had to look at them, and I think some of them had where you could read. But I'm going off of memory here, so I believe this is all stuff for fighting fires. I'm not a forced firefighter thing. I'm guessing those are old school snowshoes there on the left. You guys are probably laughing at me and going, what an idiot, but this is the kind of stuff I like to get off the beaten path and actually see and explore stuff. I've ridden by this thing so many times not knowing, and I cracked open a book, saw it on a map, and I was like, I'm stopping there this year just to take a look and see what it is. So thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me ramble for a little bit. This is obviously what the parking lot looked like, nobody around. So definitely stop in, take a look. I'm Robert with the Piston Slap channel. We'll catch you guys on the next one.